going to keep building. I'm excited to, be back in the Big East, be back part of a great basketball conference, but get everyone excited again, and get everyone engaged again. And I think that's been the message, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Pat Forty next, please.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
What's up, Pat?
Just wanted to ask you, you left a good job for Villanova. Why is it a better job?
I don't look at it that way. I look at it as two great programs, two great jobs. For me, Villanova was a great fit for me and my family. I've known Nova for the 3 years I played in the Big East, the 12 years I coached in the Big East. I'm very good friends with Jay. I'm very good friends with a lot of the alumni. So they're both great programs. I was blessed to be at Maryland. It was a great spot. I loved it. But for me, for Villanova, it's just a great fit for me and my family.
Thank you.
We'll go to Dan Gelston next of AP.
Hi, Kevin. Two questions. The first one, a lot of your public comments during the tournament about how Maryland needed to do to be a better program. Was that some public posturing to really believe you could get a better situation at Maryland, or was it more to kind of cushion the landing at Villanova that you wanted these things and they weren't available to you?
No, everything I said during the press conference was because I love Maryland. I was passionate about my job. But very simply, all I want to do is try to get the best for my players and the best for the program. I'm going to do the same thing here at Villanova. My comments were just about having an opportunity to try to make Maryland the best program we could make it. I'm always going to try to make our programs better. I'm very passionate about my job. I'm passionate about my players. That's as simple as it was. I'm always going to fight for my programs. I'm going to fight for my players. And that's as simple as it was.
And a quick follow-up. Yourself, Richard Pitino, Will Wade, Buzz Williams, all won games in the tournament and have already moved on for bigger, better jobs. I guess you should just be kind of like mid-major coaches would move up. Now, guys who are in your position are moving on. Is that because how much of it does that have to do with NIL and money distribution more than the actual job itself?
I can't comment on anyone else moving. I can just say, I moved because this is a great fit. It's a great culture. It's an unbelievable university, and it's a phenomenal basketball program.
Thanks, Dan. We'll go to Adam Zagoria, Zags.
Gav, congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Ed. How you doing, man?
Good. Looking forward to covering you again this year. You mentioned Jay. I'm just curious if you talked to Jay during the process. Did he give you any advice? And, do you feel like did he give his blessing as far as your hiring? Was he involved at all? Or?
I talked to Jay Saturday night, I guess 5 days ago, Saturday night, after I met with Father Donahue and Eric. And yes, I just asked him, I said, Jay, would you be okay if I did take this job? And Jay was great. He's like, I'm 100% behind you. He said, I think you'd be great there. Whatever you decide to do, which is, he sold me on Villanova. And I would not have even thought about taking this job if I had not talked to Jay, and he had not sold Villanova the way he did.
And I'm sorry, where was this conversation, Kev? Saturday, you said? Where was it?
On the back of my porch.
On the phone?
On the phone. Yeah, he was doing TV for CBS, I'm pretty sure.
And I mean, obviously, I assume your goal is to win championships like Jay did, right? Can you kind of summarize your goal there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is a place that has proven not only during Jay's time, but you think about 1985 in the Big East. You think of what UConn's done, obviously what Jay's done. I think the Big East has always been a basketball-centric league. So coming back into this league and seeing what they've done over the last 8-9 years in college basketball, this is a place that I believe we can get back to winning championships.
Thanks, Kev. Good luck.
Thanks, Ed. Good seeing you, man.
Thanks, Adam. I will go to Josh Verlin of City of Basketball Love.
Hey Kevin, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Uh, as Mike said, I run a site called City Basketball Love. I've been covering high school and college hoops in Philly full time for 13 years now, so you'll see me around a good bunch. Obviously at Seton Hall, you sort of had a front row seat a little bit to Villanova's rise and national championships over that 12-year run. I was just curious, what sort of stuck out to you about what they were doing right during that time and things you might want to emulate from that run as you take over at this program.
I think two big things. I think the guys they were able to recruit. You look at all the pros that Jay was able to bring in here and develop. I think that's something that I think every coach during that time, especially in the Big East, really kind of respected what Jay was doing from a recruiting standpoint, but most importantly from a player development standpoint. I think that's something that, we're really going to focus on now that the portal has kind of changed. We want to focus on high school kids and developing them and making them a priority again. And at the same time, I think everyone really realized, systems work, and Jay had a really, really good system from spacing you out and jump stopping and pivoting and doing all that stuff. So I think, learning from what Jay had done, seeing what he had done here, we're gonna try to do the same thing.
I mean, just if I can have a quick follow up here, you guys obviously met in some Big East championship games. I mean, this was a good bit of a rivalry there. Was it strange for you to put on the Villanova warm up for the first time?
Yes. I, I'm, I'm not gonna lie. I've, I'm still very close with a large group of Seton Hall supporters, and I had to get their blessing too, because we've had so many great battles. I talked to Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson already, and those guys, we started talking automatically about how great those battles were and how much we respected each other. So, as much as I love wearing this right now, the first time I put it on was a little bit of a shock.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go to Tom Shredencheck, Fox 29.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for the time this afternoon. I'm curious, and I saw part of your interview last night with the guys on FS1. How do you take the Villanova culture that you've talked about with Jay and that Kyle followed and still put your own signature and the things that have made you successful on the program? Is that a mesh that has to happen?
Absolutely. I mean, no one's ever going to be Jay. And what I mean by but Jay and Villanova created a culture with their players, with the brotherhood, that I think any coach that comes here has to embrace, and it has to understand how powerful it is. I'm not going to fight the culture. It's probably the best basketball culture in the country. My job is now in a new world of NIL, transfer portal, is to put what I've learned on that with my play, how we play offensively and defensively, and kind of adapt to the new style of college basketball. So as much as I'm going to embrace the culture, the Villanova way, I have to now get Villanova to kind of adapt now to a new era of college basketball. And that's really where my spin has to come to this program.
Thanks, Shredder. Let's go to Dylan Johnson of the Villanovan.
Hey Kevin, I'm Dylan with the Villanova. You have a future coming up over the next few weeks and stuff, and you have a staff. Many of the guys that are currently on staff with Villanova have been part of this program as players, as coaches. Do you kind of have any idea how you see your staff going over the next few weeks? How you're going to kind of build that staff with people and people that are still here?
I'm not going to talk about staff right now or players, just because our team plays tomorrow night. Our team plays tomorrow night. They're trying to win a championship. I think Mike was phenomenal last night. I know all those guys. I respect all those guys. I think everyone needs to respect what they're doing right now. They're still playing. So we watched the game last night. We're going to watch it Thursday and support them. And right now, that's all I'm focused on right now.
Thanks, Dylan. We'll go to Eric Watkins of VU Sports.
Hi, Coach Eric Watkins, VU Sports. Over the years, Villanova developed a reputation for their ability to develop players, given the NIL and portal. You started to talk a little about this, but what do you think is the right balance between high school and portal? And looking at the roster right now and the guys with the heavy minutes are kind of leaving, what going forward is your view of the right balance between those two ways of bringing in talent?
Yeah, and that's probably the magical question. I do think with the COVID years getting out, the 6-year guys getting flushed out of the system, so to say, I think the portal is going to shrink dramatically in the next couple years. So I think it's really important to develop young men. I think that's our job as college coaches. I enjoy that aspect of coaching more than anything. So we're still going to recruit high school kids, and we're going to develop high school kids because I think they can help you year on year develop your culture and keep your culture. I think it's very hard just to bring transfers in every year, and keep a culture that you want to work. And so I think there has to be a balance. I had one of the best freshmen I've ever coached this year in Derek Queen, and he helped our culture. He came in and was great. But I also had Julian Reese that stayed with me for 3 years, and he taught our culture to the younger guys. So I think there has to be a fine balance of it. I don't think it's the same year in, year out. I think some years you're going to recruit some freshmen. You might have a 4-man freshman class. Some years you might only have 2. It just depends on, in all honesty, who transfers and who stays.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. We'll go back to Jeff Nyberg of the Inquirer.
Kevin, I take it you said you don't want to talk about staff and players. That means if I ask, you don't know yet who from the current roster is staying. You don't know yet.
No, I mean, again, I had a great conversation with them on Monday night. But I told them, I said, I want you guys to concentrate. You're still playing. It's a great opportunity for all of them. And again, you're trying to win a championship. You got Mike out there, first time coaching, give him everything. And I said, when we get back on Monday, we'll have a team meeting and we'll go from there. But I want them just to thoroughly enjoy playing, thoroughly enjoy the opportunity to try to win a championship.
This is sort of what you were talking about before, but how do you envision sort of working with Baker in his role to identify and recruit talent along with your staff, and sort of how has your perspective sort of changed on how that process works, having gone through it the last couple of years?
Well, I'm looking forward to working with Baker. He has been really good so far with me. I didn't have a GM at Maryland, so it's kind of nice that he's been kind of doing this for 2 years and understands the agent side, dealing with the money side. And I think we're going to continue to evolve. I don't think you can have one set way. I think every year, more and more agents are getting involved. The transfer portal changes, the timeline changes. So I think the one thing that we will be is very flexible and will continue to evolve as the rules change, as a house settlement kicks in. Things are going to change dramatically, maybe on April 7th. So you have to be able to adapt and evolve. And Baker's been great because he's been doing this for the last 2 years, and he's got a great basketball mind. He understands what my vision for this program is. So I'm looking forward to working with him.
Thanks. We'll go to David Sispansky of WXVU now.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for being here with us today, taking some time. Welcome to Villanova. David Shispansky from Villanova Student Radio. This past season, Maryland had the 6th best defense, college basketball, the 14th best defense last year, according to Ken Pom, and I can go on and on with what you've done defensively at Seton Hall and Maryland. How much do you take pride in your teams being able to play good defense? And being in a conference like the Big East again, how important is defense to success and winning games?
So the easiest thing to do when you get a new team is to teach defense. And I think the way we go at it and really concentrate on it early in the season is really just to concentrate on the defensive side. Just because once you set those boundaries and you get a good defense in practice, you can have good defense, you can have good offense going against good defense. So I've always been a little bit more of a defensive-centric side because we play so fast offensively, and I give a lot of freedom to my guys. Is the one thing I always feel that you can control as a player is your effort and your defense. That's a non-negotiable with me. I know my players are going to give me great effort. I know they're going to play defense because that's the one thing when they come here. That's kind of the contract. You come play hard, you come work hard, you play defense, you get to do what you want to do offensively. So that's one reason I think my teams have always been really good defensively, is just because my guys understand that if they do what they're supposed to do on the defensive end, they won't come out, and B, they have the freedom to play offense.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, David. Nice to meet you.
We'll go to Mia from VTV.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm from Villanova Television, and I wanted to know, can you describe your coaching philosophy, your coaching style, and how it aligns with the Villanova mantra, attitude, and the Villanova way?
I would say, to be honest with you, Mia, my coaching philosophy is constantly changing as the world of college basketball has changed. What I will say is I understand the Villanova way, and I understand the Villanova culture and the attitude and the former players, former coaches, and that my coaching style will fit in with the fact that we're going to play really hard. We're going to play a way that respects the guys that came before us, the coaches that came before us. I feel like my style will fit really well with what has been done here in the past.
Thank you, Coach. Welcome to Villanova.
Thanks. Thank you, Mia. Great to be here.
We'll go to David Melandra now.
Anything?
Hey, Coach. Two quick questions for you. One, how does it feel to be back in the Big East Conference? And secondly, what is your message to the fan base about what we should expect of your coaching style?
It feels great. I think the Big East is obviously not, if not one of the best, one of the best basketball conferences in the country. I played in the Big East way back in the day. I coached 12 years. The Big East tournament by far is probably the best 5 days in college basketball. It is an event on itself. So just to get back to the Big East tournament is really exciting. And my message to fans will be, to get excited. We're going to bring a great group of guys in here. They're going to play hard. We're going to play a fun style. I just want the fan base to, I know it's been a tough couple of years, but like I said, Kyle and his staff have done a phenomenal job of trying to navigate a very tough situation. I just want the fan base to get excited again. We're going to play a fun style. We're going to get after it, and we're going to try to get this program back to where it belongs.
Thanks, David. I saw Dan Gelston drop a note in the chat that he had a question. Dan?
Hi, thanks. I had a couple quick questions. One was, how much of an advantage do you think the proposed $20.5 million settlement is for any Big East program? That's my first question.
Yeah, I mean, if you understand the house settlement and cap space and all that stuff, I think the Big East is really situated in a unique situation where they're probably never going to have to worry about the cap. I think football conference schools or football centric conferences are going to, basketball schools are going to run into the fact that, if you give $16 million to football, you give $3 million, you only have $3 million cap, where in the Big East, you just don't have that issue. So I think the Big East is really positioned itself to be in a really good position with the house settlement.
And last one, you caught a lot of grief. I'm sure you've read it or heard about it or probably seen about it for the way you.
No, I really haven't. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Yeah, explain it to me for me.
Sure. There's a
no,
restaurant.
I'm just joking. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, I had a whole list here. I was happy to read it off.
No, please don't.
How do you feel it was unfair at all, or do you understand where they're coming from? And I guess just your overall feeling about the fact that people feel you kind of left in a, not cool way, for lack of a better word.
No, I mean, I obviously, I think some of my comments during the NCAA tournament probably could have been a little bit less abrasive, but unfortunately, sometimes when my passion for my program, my passion for my players come out, I get a little excited. The only thing I'm going to say is normal fans just don't understand what went on. I had such a great team. I was so focused on my team. I was so focused on my players. Winning those those games, hitting a buzzer beater against Colorado State, being out west with my team for 12 days was such a great experience for me. We had so much fun out there. The timeline, no one knows it, no one understands it. I can't change that, and I'm not worried about that. All I'm going to say is that Maryland just got a great coach in Buzz, and I'm really happy for them. And I'm super excited to be at a great basketball conference here, and I just think it's time to everyone move on.
Thanks, Dan. I
Thank
see
you.
the last hand raised is Josh Verlin. You get the last question, Josh.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Kevin, I know you haven't coached a ton of Philly kids in your career, but you know, Dante and Akeem down at Maryland. I'm just wondering, like, I mean, they come out of two of the best named programs in the city. Are there ways they can help you in the recruiting world, or just sort of getting acclimated to this city? Or is there anything that you learned about Philadelphia basketball through those guys?
Well, I mean, I've recruited in Philly for years, and I think Philly's toughness, they know how to play the game, and that's what I love about Philly guys. I love coaching Hakeem. I love coaching. I've already talked to Dante. He's super excited, so when he comes back, he can come hang out. So Dante's going to be a guy that I really rely on because he's such a great kid. But yeah, I mean, I love Philly players. I think they're coached the right way. Great AAU programs in this area, obviously great high school programs in this area. So I'm just excited to be part of that Philly basketball scene.
And the one thing we haven't touched on is the Big Five. You know, your thoughts on that series and being part of that now and its importance.
No, I'm super excited about that. I've always been jealous about what a unique situation in college basketball that this area has, and that all these teams get to play each other and compete against each other. So for me, this is really cool to be joining that Big Five and being part of that. I'm really excited about that.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, everybody. I think that brings us to the end of today's presser. We'll do this in person at some point. We will have details on a formal introductory press
Recording
conference.
stopped.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Coach, for hopping on today.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Coach.
Thank
Thank you.